Predator is an interesting case in movie history. I do not believe that you could look anywhere else and find a film with so many action movie cliches jammed into one outing, yet somehow the sum of its parts becomes something incredibly unique. The way it starts off, you feel like you're about to watch some generic testosterone-fueled war flick, except for the fact that a spaceship is shown dropping something onto the surface of Earth. These sequences are few and far between in the first act of the movie, but never interfere with the main action or exposition. It's just enough to remind you that there is something else out there. Instead of entrenching you in learning about the Predator, the early exposition of the film introduces you to the soldiers that are heading in on a rescue mission.
The other day I went up to my girlfriend. I said, you know, I'd like a little pussy. She said, me too. Mine's as big as a house. You see, she wanted a littler one because hers was big as a house.
The team is led by Dutch, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger. His character is probably the most shallow of the bunch, seeing as most of the DVD movie synopses don't even bother to mention the character's name when they say it's a movie about Arnold Schwarzenegger doing battle with an alien predator. Most of the characters are pretty unique and identifiable, however, each having their own quirks, which, while at times are pretty cliché, they are pulled off in a real enough fashion that it actually brings you more into believing an unbelievable story. Billy is probably my favorite character of the bunch. Still pretty cliché, the Native American master tracker, but he plays the part so cool and sure, you have no problem believing every performance he gives.
Can't believe that Jim Harper walked in on an ambush.
I don't believe he did. I can't find a single track. Just doesn't make sense.
The interesting thing about this movie is that despite its mash of different action movie scenarios, it has its own three-act structure that's easy enough to follow. The first act really centers on Dutch, establishing his capacity to fight, think on his feet, and deliver cheesy lines.
Stick around.
The second act, after a half hour into the movie, is when things really start getting interesting. This is the part that concentrates on the Predator and establishing his abilities, which, while they don't involve cheesy lines, are quite formidable nonetheless. The Predator is better equipped than these soldiers could ever hope to be. He's got active camouflage, wrist blades, a shoulder-mounted plasma cannon, and thermal vision. It's interesting. They could have shown the whole first act of the movie without showing even one hint of the Predator, and it would have played out the same. But by having the few odd ends every once in a while, it's not so disjointing when the Predator does show up in the forefront. That's not to say it isn't disjointing at all. It's the first major shift in the movie's direction if you were expecting a generic war flick.
Please!
This point in the movie starts to take on a slower pace, more fitting of horror, but the big guns and the seemingly unlimited supply of ammunition keep the action levels high enough. The overall tone is more fitting of a 10 Little Indians script, though, as everyone gets picked off one by one. Most of the character interactions around this point change up a bit, too.
There's something out there waiting for us. And it ain't no man. We're all gonna die.
Mostly understandable, as tensions run high and sanity is in short supply. One part I personally don't understand is Anna. She starts off as an enemy guerrilla, and is captured by Dutch's men as the only one they decided not to explode, set on fire, impale, perforate, mutilate, or eviscerate.
Knock, knock.
probably because she has breasts. Well, in the middle of Act 2, she suddenly starts speaking English and trusts this group of soldiers who decided not to kill her yet.
What did you see?
You're wasting your time.
No more games.
I don't know what it was.
Where she ends up through the power of her own 2
Go
feet
on.
by the end of the film makes little sense when you consider her character in the beginning, but I digress. Also, close to the end of the second act, Billy decides he's tired of running.
Billy! Billy, let's go!
Alright, this has to be the most badass character in the movie, and he's going to fight the Predator with a knife? Awesome! I can't wait to see this! What the hell was that? And that brings us to Act 3, when it's just Dutch and the Predator. After establishing the combat prowess of both, it comes down to a one-on-one battle. Divulging too much into this part of the movie would really spoil a lot of it, but seeing as Dutch wasn't my favorite character from the start, and Anna's a little too inconsistent for my tastes, I think what appeals to me with this act is that Dutch has very few tools at his disposal, making the battle against the technologically advanced Predator that much more interesting. Predator's overall tone is still seeping with testosterone, but it isn't afraid to delve into more intellectual territories, which is refreshing for a definitive guy's film. For a rating, I'd give Predator 5 trophies out of 5 for action, which is good since it's an action movie. What few elements of horror there are would have forced me to give it a mere 1 ugly motherfucker out of 5 for horror.
You one ugly motherfucker.
Next on the list, we head into the urban jungle for a review of Predator 2. Next on the list, we head into the urban jungle for fuck. Yeah, we head there for a fuck. Oh yeah.